I bought my first home at 22, and I'll tell you, it was a bold move at the time, and I did some of it was smart, some of it was not so smart. Let me tell you about it. Let me tell you what I've learned, and to end with, I'll tell you what I would tell my 22-year-old self if I could transport myself back now. After all, hindsight is a wonderful thing. So, as I said, I bought at the ripe old age of 22. Now, how it worked was I'd been at university and I'd got certain exemptions and ended up earning quite a decent salary from my first job being a part qualified accountant. I realised quite quickly that what I was paying per rent was a lot more than what my mortgage payments was going to be. So I knuckled down, stayed at my parents' for a few months, and saved up a deposit. Now, it was funny because I didn't really understand how all of it worked. So what I ended up doing was going to a load of estate agents, and I was just a really gullible person, to be honest, going in, and they would tell me, oh, it's a great second two bedroom, da 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 da. I'd go to the second bedroom and it was literally a walk-in closet. So yeah, there were some pros and cons, but I finally found a flat. It was in a four-story block on the ground floor, two bedroom. It was really spacious. It was in between two underground stations, which was great because I needed to get to work and everything. So I just thought it was perfect. I had my little 5% deposit and off I went. I negotiated the price, managed to get 5,000 off, I think by pure luck, really. And then the time went by and I put in the offer in August. I was going to be turning 23 in November, so I wanted to own at 22. I wanted to own at 22. But November came and went, and I didn't end up becoming an official homeowner till I was 23, but I always say 22 because that's when I put the offer in and I didn't expect it to take so long. Now, that was the first thing to be aware of. The second thing, I just want to share some things with you that I learned from buying at such a young age. Now, firstly, I was looking for a property. The only thing that was important to me was having decent sized bedrooms. I wasn't that bothered about the lounge because I used to go out with my friends a lot, so I wasn't really around a lot. The kitchen, as long as the worktop held takeaway containers, I was good to go. So I wasn't even concerned about the kitchen till after I'd moved in. Parking, again, when I first viewed the property, the very first time when I put in the offer, it was actually on the weekends. There was so many parking spaces, it was unbelievable. But I didn't realise that during the week, Monday to Friday, it was absolutely chocker because everybody would leave their car there and obviously commute into work by walking to one of the two stations that were quite close. So that was not very good. Plus, the other thing is, it all changed at night. So during the day, it was nice and quiet and, there wasn't a lot going on. But as soon as the night fell, it got dark, obviously, and people came out. There were a load of sort of kids hanging around and that kind of thing. And it did make me quite nervous, to be honest. I remember one time like a fight broke out and I was like, oh, I don't know what to do. So yeah, it wasn't ideal. The other thing was, it was a flat, as I mentioned, in a four-story block. I didn't understand that when the top flat had an issue with their roof, we all had to pay. When the grounds were really nice, when I went there, I really loved the fact that I didn't actually have a garden, but there was a lot of greenery around. I didn't realise that came out of the service charge. A gardener would come every couple of months and cut the grass and everything like that. I had to pay for that. I had to pay, as I said, to maintain the roof. I had to pay for loads of things that I didn't even realise in my little flat that would even touch me, And then obviously there was council tax and things like that. I'd been living there a whole year before I heard about the fact that you could get a discount on your council tax if you're a single occupant. I didn't realise because I had a two-bed flat. I was in a higher band. So for a whole year, I was paying, you know, based on a 2-bed flat, i.e. 2 or 3 people living there, and it was just me on my own. So single occupier, I think it was 25% off or something, but it really did make a difference. The other thing I didn't know about was, yes, the service charges I've mentioned, and as the years went on, it got higher and higher and higher as the flat, you know, deteriorated, as the block deteriorated. But the other thing that got so the service charge got higher, but the one thing that got lower was the tenancy. So I had a leasehold property. I wasn't a freeholder, I was a leaseholder. So as my tenancy went down, I had to eventually get to a point where I needed to extend it. So when I was applying for a mortgage, they told me it was unmortgageable because my tenancy was so low. So I had to remortgage and also extend the tenancy at the same time. So I had to learn a lot on the fly. And I remember the freeholder saying to me, "Oh, this is going to cost you a lot. The property's gone up, and it affects it." I mean, I was really excited when I realised after 3 years of living there, my property had doubled in price, and I was like, "Woohoo! Equity!" Which is the difference between what the property is worth and what the mortgage balance is. But what I didn't realise is that when you are getting a lease extension, it's based on the current value, not the value when you bought it. So I paid double what I needed to for the lease extension. I didn't realise that you could go to the freeholder when you're actually buying it originally and actually say to them, would you extend it at that point in time? My solicitor didn't tell me. This is why, as a mortgage advisor now, I work with certain people. So I work with certain solicitors that tell you this kind of thing, because the solicitor I work with is actually an ex-teacher, so she tells you a lot of the stuff. Me, myself, as you know, I love to explain how things work. So when I'm giving mortgage advice to first-time buyers, I do that as well. But at the end of the day, I managed to buy at a young age and I've never looked back. I absolutely love the fact that I became a homeowner at that point. I took advantage of the equity to buy other properties, which I will explain that story another time. But what I just want to say to you is, find a mortgage broker, a mortgage advisor, I like to call them, that will hold your hand, that will explain this kind of stuff, that will love what they do like I do, in order to explain how everything works. Or better still, take a course, or I've got guides, I've got courses. In September, I'm going to be launching Get Mortgage Ready membership. But all of this is so important for you to actually have the education, because if you don't, it can be so costly. So thank you for watching the video, and we will see you again soon.